Good morning, students. So in the previous two sessions, we have completely discussed about the concept of coordinate geometry. There we discussed what is a Cartesian coordinate system, how to represent x-axis, y-axis, as well as the origin. Similarly, we have also discussed what is x-coordinate and what is y-coordinate. And today in this class, we will determine how to represent the coordinate, that is the x and the y coordinate of a given point, and that point should be represented on this plane, this xy plane, or you can say this Cartesian coordinate system of frame of reference. Okay, so here a point should be given in this plane and we have to determine its x and y coordinate. So let's start with the first question. Okay, so here the question asks you to find the abscissa and the ordinate of this following points A, B, C, D, E. Okay, so there are 5 points on this plane A, B, C, D, and E. Now you have to find its abscissa and ordinate. So there are two unknown terms, abscissa and ordinate. So what is abscissa? What is abscissa? Abscissa is the other name for x coordinate. I have already told you it is related to x axis. So abscissa means x coordinate and ordinate means y coordinate. Right? So here you have to find out the abscissa means x coordinate and the y coordinate. Okay, this is x coordinate and y coordinate of following 5 points. Okay, so here we start the first point A. You can see the point A is located in this portion. This portion is known as quadrant 1. So first write it Q1. This means quadrant 1. Now you have to find out this x and y coordinate. Okay. So before finding out this x and y coordinate, you have to first do one thing. First, draw a perpendicular line. Okay, from that point to x-axis. Clear? You have to draw perpendicular line from that point to x-axis and another perpendicular line from that point to y-axis. Okay, this is your first task. Understood? Next, we have to find out its x coordinate. So recall what is x coordinate. As I had told you, x coordinate means the perpendicular distance, okay, from y-axis to the point. Here the point is A, okay, and this is the y-axis. This is the y-axis, isn't it? This is the y-axis. So you have to find out the x coordinate means the distance from y-axis to the point. So if it is y-axis, okay, this is y-axis and this is the point, then you have to find the distance. That means you have to find this length. This is the distance. You have to find this length. Clear? So, as you know, this is a rectangle. Okay, why? Because you have drawn perpendicular 90 degree. You have also draw another perpendicular. This is also 90 degree, and this is also 90 degree, and this is also 90 degree. So it is nothing but a rectangle. Since it is a rectangle, it means this side must be equal to this side. Two opposite sides are equal, and similarly, this side is also equal to this side. Clear? So you have to find the x coordinate. This is the x coordinate, or this is the distance from point to the y-axis. Okay. Since we know that this distance is equal to this distance, so let us find this distance first. Since in order to reach at this point, you have to start your journey from origin. Then you have to go through the positive direction of x-axis and reach up to 4 units. That means this distance is 4 units. Okay, this distance is 4 units. If it is 4 units, then it must be 4 units. Okay, so this is your x coordinate. Hence, you find the x coordinate is 4 here. Clear? Now, let us find the y coordinate. Okay, Y coordinate means the perpendicular distance from x-axis to the point. Okay, first identify the point. Okay, if this is the point, this is the point, and the perpendicular distance from x-axis, and this is your x-axis, this is the point. The perpendicular distance means this is the perpendicular distance, this distance. Okay, that means you have to find this distance. This is your y coordinate. Okay, and since it is a rectangle, this length is equal to this length. Okay, so this length is equal to this length. Okay, since see it starts from origin and ends at 3, that means it has 3 units. Hence you can write, yes, the y coordinate is 3 units. Hence the y coordinate is 3 units. Write the units. Okay, because the distance from each consecutive number is 1 unit. Okay, so the x coordinate is 4 and y coordinate is 3. Then you can say for point A, the abscissa is 4 and the ordinate is 3 units. Clear? Now coming to the second point, that is the point B. So for this you have to follow the same procedure. Okay, you have to follow the same procedure. So first draw a perpendicular line on x-axis as well as on y-axis. Okay, now finding the x coordinate means, it means the perpendicular distance from y-axis to the point. Okay, if this is your point, see this is your point, this is your y-axis. Okay, the distance from y-axis, so which is the distance? This is the distance, this is the distance. That means you have to find out this distance, okay, and this is your x coordinate. Since it is equal to this distance, because it is a rectangle. So first find out this distance. Since this distance is 2 units, ignore the negative sign. Okay, ignore the signs first. This distance is 2 units, then this distance is also 2 units. Hence you can write the x coordinate is equal to 2 units. But it is towards the negative direction of x-axis, that is why it is minus 2 units. Understood? Now we will define its y coordinate. As you know, y coordinate means the perpendicular distance from the x-axis to the point. Okay, since this is the point and this is the x-axis, then this perpendicular distance is y coordinate. Okay, this distance. Hence, this one is the y coordinate. Understood? Now this distance is equal to this distance, and this is about 4 units. Hence the y coordinate is 4 units. Okay, and it is towards the positive direction of y-axis, so you can write y coordinate is plus 4 units. Clear? Now coming to the point C. Okay, in order to find the coordinates of point C, you have to first draw the perpendicular towards the x-axis and the y-axis. Okay, so this is the perpendicular distance towards x-axis and this is the perpendicular distance towards y-axis. Clear? Now we have to find the x coordinate. As you know, x coordinate means the perpendicular distance from the y-axis towards the point. This is the point. Okay, and this is the y-axis. Now this perpendicular distance is x coordinate. So you can write this one is your x coordinate, and this distance is equal to this distance. Since this distance is minus 3 units, so x coordinate is minus 3 units. Okay. Now y coordinate. Y coordinate is the perpendicular distance from x-axis towards the point. So this is the point and this is x-axis. Now this distance is its y coordinate. Okay. So this distance is equal to this distance and this distance is about minus 3 units. Hence the y coordinate of this point C. is minus 3 units. Understood? Coming to question number 4, where we have to find the x and y coordinate of D. Okay, so draw the perpendicular first. These are the two perpendiculars, so that it will make a rectangle. Clear? So this distance is equal to this distance and this distance is equal to this distance. Now we have to find out the x coordinate, that means the perpendicular distance from y axis to the point. Okay, so this is your y axis, this is your point. Now this one is its perpendicular distance, so this is your x coordinate. Okay, so this is your x coordinate. Now this distance is equal to this distance. So if it is, how much unit? 2 units, then it must be 2 units. Understood? So this is also 2 units. Now we have to find its y coordinate. So y coordinate means the perpendicular distance from x axis to the point. Okay, so this is our point, this is our x axis. Now this distance is its y coordinate. So this is y coordinate, and this distance is equal to this, and this is minus 2 unit. So y coordinate is minus 2 unit. Understood? So in this way you can find out the x as well as the y coordinate of any point representing on any xy plane or Cartesian coordinate system. Clear? Now finally we are going to calculate the coordinate of the point E. Okay, so in order to find the x coordinate as well as the y coordinate of the point E, we have to start our journey from origin. Okay, so this is our origin, and we have to move towards the positive direction of x-axis, and here we have finally we got reached at our destination at E. So we have to move about how much units? 1 units. In which axis? In x-axis. So this is our what? X coordinate. So x coordinate here is how much? 1 unit. This is plus 1 because this is the positive direction of x-axis. And in order to find its y coordinate, as I have told you, if a point lies on x-axis, then its y coordinate is 0. Okay, how? Let's define. Suppose you start your journey from this and reach at this point, and this is your final destination. You do not need to go anywhere, either towards top or towards bottom, because this is your point to reach. So you do not move towards the top or towards the bottom. That means you have not to move any distance in y-axis. So your y coordinate is 0. Understood? So for the point E, the x coordinate is 1 and y coordinate is 0. Similarly, if a point will place in y-axis, suppose the point is here, F, then can we find its x coordinate and y coordinate? Yes, of course. X coordinate and y coordinate. For this you have to start your journey from the origin. Okay, here if you will go towards the x-axis, but the point is just top of the origin, so you do not need to move towards x-axis. Okay, you have to directly move towards your top. Since you do not need to move towards x-axis, so your x coordinate is 0, and your y coordinate is you have to move towards top or towards the positive direction of y-axis and reach at this point, and you have to cover about 2 units. So your y coordinate is plus 2 units. Understood? Now you can easily find out the x and the y coordinate, or you can say the abscissa and the ordinate of any point representing an xy plane. Clear? Now coming to the question number 2, and in question number 2 we have to determine in which quadrant following points will lie. That means we have to identify in which quadrant out of the 4 quadrant 1, 2, 3 and 4, these points will lie in Cartesian coordinate system. Okay, so for this you have to first draw the Cartesian coordinate system. Okay, So this is your vertical axis, that means your y-axis, and this is your x-axis. Okay, this terminal is x dash, this is y, and this is y dash. Clear? And this is your origin. And one thing you have to keep in mind that the coordinate of the origin is, this is O for origin, not 0. This is O. Okay, and its coordinate is 0, 0. Why it is 0, 0? Because anyone which stands at this point do not move either towards x-axis or towards y-axis. That means his distance from x-axis is 0 and its distance from y-axis is also 0. So the coordinate of the origin is 0, 0. This is the most important point you have to remind. Write down the coordinate of origin is 0, 0. Why? Because the point O is lying at such a distance, it doesn't have to move towards x-axis or it doesn't have to move towards y-axis. So its distance from x and y-axis are 0. So the coordinate of origin is 0, 0. Understood? Now we have to determine in which quadrant out of the 4 quadrants. This is quadrant 1, this is quadrant 2, and this is quadrant 3 and quadrant 4. Okay, and we know this is the positive direction of x-axis, so you can write this is, I am writing just symbolically, positive direction of x-axis, and this side is the negative direction of x-axis. Clear? And the upward side is the positive direction of y-axis. Direction of y-axis. And towards the bottom, it is the negative direction of y-axis. Okay? Y-axis. It means if any point is placed at Q1, okay, then it is enclosed by, see, if there is a point, okay, this point is A. If this point is placed in quadrant 1, then this point is enclosed by two axes, this axis and this axis. This is the positive direction of x-axis, this is the positive direction of y-axis. Then its coordinate must be plus and plus, because x-axis is plus, y-axis is a plus. Clear? Similarly, if a point is placed at quadrant 2, suppose there is a point B, then this point is enclosed by two axes. Okay, this is the x-axis, which is the negative direction of x-axis. So the x coordinate is negative and the y coordinate is positive. So any point lying at quadrant 2 must be negative, positive of their coordinate. Similarly, if a point lies at quadrant 3, then it is also enclosed by two axes, x and y. This is the negative direction of x-axis, so the x coordinate must be negative, and this is the negative direction of y-axis, so the y coordinate must be negative. So any point lying in quadrant 3 must have negative and negative value of x and y coordinate respectively. Okay. Similarly, if a point is placed in quadrant 4, suppose you can say D, then it is also enclosed by two axes, x-axis and y-axis, but this is the positive direction of x-axis. It means the x coordinate must be positive and the y coordinate must be negative. So any point lying in the quadrant 4 must have positive value of x coordinate and negative value of y coordinate. Okay, so this is the basic concept of the quadrants. By using this concept, we have to find out the quadrant in which following points will lie. Okay, so let us start with the first point. Suppose a point is 3 and 4. Okay, so you can see 3 is the x coordinate and 4 is the y coordinate, and in x coordinate the sign is positive. Suppose this is 3 and 4. This is the x coordinate and 4 is the y coordinate. And here 3 has the sign positive and y coordinate has the sign positive. So they have the sign positive, positive. That means it will lie in which quadrant out of this 4 quadrant? Definitely in quadrant 1. Because both the x and the y have positive value. So we can write this point will lie in the quadrant 1. This is our answer. Understood? Similarly, minus 3, 5. Here this is the x coordinate and this is the y coordinate. And here the x coordinate has negative value. Minus 3 and 5. The x coordinate has negative value but the y coordinate has positive value. Okay? So in which quadrant they will lie? Without seeing this diagram, we can say yes, x coordinate negative means it is towards the left side and y coordinate positive means it is towards the top. So left side and top means this is quadrant 2. See, negative, positive. So this point will lie in quadrant 2. Clear? Now minus 8, minus 3. Here minus 8 is the x quadrant or x coordinate and minus 3 is the y coordinate. And here the x coordinate has negative sign and the y coordinate has negative sign. So negative sign of x coordinate means it is towards the left. Negative sign of y coordinate means it towards the bottom. So left, bottom. Which one? This is the quadrant which is enclosed by the two axes and both are towards the negative direction of x axis and negative direction of y axis. So this point minus 8, minus 3 will lie at the quadrant 3. Minus 8, minus 3. Right? So now coming to the fourth point. We have to find the quadrant in which the 10 minus 2 coordinate or the point will lie. So here 10 is the x quadrant. So its sign is positive and y coordinate is minus 2 where the sign is negative. So you have to identify out of this 4 quadrant in which this point will lie having the x coordinate sign positive and y coordinate sign negative. So this is the quadrant in which the x coordinate is positive and the y coordinate is negative. So you can say yes, 10 minus 2 will lie at quadrant 4. Okay. Now, some special type of question. See, in the point E, you have to find out the quadrant in which 3, 0 point will lie. Okay, 3 and 0. Here you can see in 3, 0. Okay, the x coordinate is 3, but the y coordinate is 0. Okay, again I am saying here the y coordinate is 0. As I have told you, if a point lies on x axis, okay, if a point lies on x axis, then its y coordinate must be 0. Since its y coordinate 0, then we can say yes, this point lie on x axis. Okay, so you can write this point lies on x axis. But a question is here, though it lies on x axis, but either towards the positive direction of x axis or towards the negative direction of x axis. For this you have to determine the sign of x coordinate. Okay, here the x coordinate is 3 and its sign is positive. So you can write the x coordinate sign is positive. Since the x coordinate sign is positive, it means it will lie on the positive direction of x axis. Okay, suppose here 3, 0. Understood? Since its y coordinate is 0, that means it will lie on x axis, and since its x coordinate has positive value, should lie on the positive direction of x axis, that is towards the right hand side direction, towards the terminal x. Here now 0, 7. Okay, so for the point 0, 7, here in 0, 7 the x coordinate is 0 and the y coordinate is plus 7. Since the x coordinate is 0, and we have studied if a point will lie on y axis, then its x coordinate must be 0. So since its x coordinate is 0, then we can say yes, it lie on y axis. So this point lie on y axis. But this is the complete y axis. Whether it will lie towards the positive direction of y axis or towards the negative direction of y axis. For this, we have to look at the sign of y coordinate. Here the sign of y coordinate is plus. That means it must lie on the positive direction of y axis. That means it should lie on the topmost or towards the top. Either here or here or here, anywhere, but towards the top. Okay. So this is the point 0, 7. Understood? Then G. You have to find in which quadrant or in which axis -2, 0 will lie. And here this is the x coordinate. This is the y coordinate. Since the y coordinate is 0, then yes, we can say this point will lie on x axis. Okay, because its y coordinate is 0. It is clear. But here the sign of x coordinate is negative. Since the sign of x coordinate is negative, it means it must be lie on the negative direction of x axis. That means it must be lie on the left of origin. Okay, or left of x axis. Okay, in this direction, here, anywhere. Okay, so this is -2, 0. Clear? Now, coming to last question. That is the point 0, -3. In 0, -3, your x coordinate is 0 and your y coordinate is -3. Since your x coordinate is 0, that means it must lie on y axis. Clear? But here the sign of the y coordinate is negative. It indicates that it must lie on the negative direction of y axis, or it must lie on the downmost or bottom position of y axis. Okay. So suppose this is the point 0, -3. But in all these 4 cases, here, and here, that doesn't lie on quadrant 1, 2, 3 and 4. They lie on axis. Okay. So you have to write that. Suppose for 3, 0, you have to write that it lies on positive direction of x-axis. Okay, you should write this, or you can say towards the right. Okay. Similarly, for this point 0, 7, so it lies on positive direction of y axis. That means towards top. In bracket you can write top. Understood? So in this way you can find out a point will lie on which axis or in which quadrant. Clear?